Hi guys, it's Blackie, and if it's Friday, it's Down and Dirty WOODSCRAFT. Now I got a different one for you today. Stay with me. Okay guys, now in the past I did a video showing the old hack about how to put a handle onto a U.S. Army mess kit so that it doesn't flop, and you've therefore got a cooking pan, okay? But years ago I learned from an old Marine. He said when he had time and he'd be stuck somewhere, you know, there was a trick he used to do with the other half of the mess kit, and that was put a handle on the other side too. Let me show you how to do this. Here's the hack you already know. I've cut the stick to be about 1/4 inch too long to lock in place. But if you'll notice right here, you got that hinge. So I need to fit to the hinge to make it lock in place and keep this from folding. So what I'm going to do is figuring out exactly which way I want it to go, and now's a good time to go ahead and just kind of flat it on the top and the bottom. Easier on your hand, and round is less likely to roll than it is with a flat. There we go. Just shave it off. And the wood I'm using is mimosa or silver tree, but it's a very easy to carve white wood and fairly hard once it dries. Now once I get it up there, that's correct. Now as you can see, when I do it like that, that hinge, well, I need to put a notch in there. Okay, now as you can see how I fitted the notch and how I've carved in that back. So now the handle stays hooked in place. Now I've got a skillet handle that the skillet don't fold when I turn it over. Now you've seen this before in video. But now we're going to make a handle for the top for another cook pan. Okay, to do it, we're going to figure out which side is the flattest side and how much I want for handle. Okay, so I figure about that much handle coming off, and I'm going to put a mark right there, and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to figure out with my fingernail roughly that mark. Now my first mark back here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my saw and I'm going to cut down about half the distance of the stick, like that. So I'm into the middle of it. Now from that I'm going to set it up here, lining up that lip. I'm going to come up here, but I'm not going to cut it even on this end. I'm going to space it back down about half the distance to this rivet right here. Okay, so you can see the rivet in the pan, half the distance. Okay, this will become evident here in a minute. So about half the distance right there. Alright, now staying square with that, I want to cut down half the distance. About like that. Now I'm going to come up here about 3 more inches and cut it off. Okay. Now I've got my 2 cuts. This is the handle. This is where the pan's going to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to square this off, just like this. I'm using that stop cut that I just created back there. And I'm going to peel the bark off the whole thing while we're at it. Mimosa bark peels so easy. You can use mimosa bark, do like you do birch, and make products with it. It's so you can sew it, you can whatever, and then after it dries, it's fairly durable. Not as good as birch bark, but it does well. It'll give you a little bit of usage before it ever dries out and cracks. And yes, that's my buck 110 we're doing this project with. Now you want to use green wood for this project because it's going to be in the fire. It's not meant to be a fry pan, and it's meant to be something I put on hot coals and be able to cook with. Okay, now that I have got the two cuts, now I'm going to start up here at this top cut. This is the handle that cuts. I want to undercut down into it. And I'm going to use chest pulls to cut down to it. Just like that. Okay, same thing on the other one. So I gotta rock solid stop knot right there. Turn it around, chest pull from the other way. Carve it down to the bottom of that notch. Okay. Back toward the handle side, same idea. Alright, now I'm going to come along and I'm going to put an imaginary line between these 2 points, and I'm going to make a series of cuts with my saw down to that line, trying to keep a nice even bottom. Okay, why undercut? So I can see the actual plane depth, and it gives me a stopping point. Like that one right there was too short, obviously. So I'll go back and I can touch it up a little bit more. Just like that. Alright, now that I've done that, now I'm going to cut down to this one and start popping these out with my knife. Whichever way I want to put it, whichever way I want to do it. But I start cutting down to that stop cut. And see, it gets to be pretty easy to cut down to it. Just shave down. Now if you've got a small saw that you can fit in here, yeah, cut in, get down, make you an opening big enough saw blade, and then slice the rest. You can do that. The Buck 110's got that narrow tip, and one of the good things about it is this. You can get in there where a bigger, wider blade could not. That's one of the advantages to having like Moras and stuff like that, because they're small. Tip. And turn around, cut back. Make sure it's fairly even. We'll come back and clean it up. Alright, now I'm going to go through and open up every one of them, and I'll be right back. Yeah, I did. But you see why I did the stop cuts? Now it's split and I took off about half of them in one whack by getting it to go. That was lucky on my part. Now I go along and clean them up and get rid of all these ridges right here. See how it's shaping up? It's going to make a lot more sense here in just a minute. Alright, now sitting it, leaning it against me in the stump, taking the blade like a draw knife, gently pushing. Don't bear down. I shave it down. Okay, turn it around, same way. Okay, so that's what I'm left with. Now, on the handle side right here, I'm going to look carefully and make sure I ain't got no humps or nothing along the way. I'm now going to take my saw and I'm going to undercut this edge just a little. So just like this. Just a little. Okay. Now I take my knife, come from the top, and I cut down to that. Just like that. Alright. Now, turning to the handle side, I'm going to slice down in here about, a ½ inch. And I'm going to do that this way. I'm going to put it on the stump, I'm going to put my foot on it, I'm going to put my blade up there, and I'm going to cut this way, okay? Making sure that I'm cutting square to the opening. Up just a little. Okay. Now, having done that, I now come up here to this top edge that's going to be on the other end, and I'm going to take this down to a sort of point and thin it down. Do that with a knife. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off at about ½ inch sticking out. We leave that so we got a handle when we're carving it to be able to flip it around. Okay? But now that's that way, I'm now going to take my knife and I'm going to come up from the bottom side, bring it up, and thin, but leave the top like it is. Just point, take it, crown it off a little. Okay. It'll become obvious why I'm doing this in just a minute. Stay with me. Okay, now let's do a test fit. You take that loop and you open it up and you see if it'll fit into it. If it doesn't, thin it down. It's got to go through the loop. Okay, through the loop. Still not there. We're going to get it. going to take the whole thing and narrow it down now, where it'll go through that loop. Because the loop's going to lock it. Now don't get too crazy. After you've done all this architecture, but you can narrow this hook down now. Okay, almost there. Almost. Okay, that's how you fit it. Now I need to bring this lower part about to here for clearance. I learned this from an old Marine who said he started doing it in World War II when he was going to be stuck in a position for a couple of days. And you had time to whittle and do stuff like this in order to, you know, pass time. He said he'd do it and make him a handle. And that fits. Now what you're going to do is, you're going to do it this way. You're going to sit this edge down here. Now this needs to be opened up a little bit so this lip will go into that part of the handle. Okay? And I'm going to do that by putting my saw up there and kind of sanding sideways on it. Like that. To open it up a little. Okay, now if my handle don't split off, take my knife and I'm going to go down into that notch in the handle. I'll open it up a little. Taking that tip, putting it in that slot and opening it up. Just like that. I'm going to take the tip of the knife, I'm going to go inside it and I'm going to lift it up just a little. Like that. See if I can do this now. Almost. Alright, put the hook over. Put the hook over, come back down, just like that. Give a little prayer and a bang, just like that. There. Now, I can put that onto coals and cook in here on coals and have something I can pick up and sit down. You don't want to use this on fire, but as you can see now, that is hooked over, and then that hook lip up there is coming up here. You know, it keeps it from coming off. I could have put the hook the other way onto the band if I wanted to, but it works this way. See? And so now I've got two handles. So, now I have a frying pan that I can put in the fire, because the pan's going to be in the fire, but the handle's going to be out of it. Okay. And I have a simmer pan, because that green stick notched like that, so it's hooked up underneath there, and then that hook up there. Yes, I could have carved it the other way and just had that strap go into it, but either way, it ain't coming off easy. Alright, now I've got a handle that I can rake up a bed of coals, sit that up on there, and let it simmer. I can cook vegetables, I can cook whatever, where I want to cook slow in this, while this is being used for something else, like frying, you know. So this I can cook my meat, and I can also cook my meat and then transfer it into here, this sitting on a bed of coals, up a little bit to be like a warming thing. So I can cook the meat and put it in here, and then cook something else in here, or make gravy in here, while this is busy keeping it warm. And I can pick it up, move it off the fire, add more coals, and come back. Because it's just the lid, there's no way to grab it unless you're toting pliers. This was an old down and dirty trench modification of a World War II Marine that I'm friends with that showed me this little trick. He said if you do it right, this hook will come up and lock over the top. I didn't do it right. But you could also just as easily put that notch to the bottom and have it hook onto that bail right there and do the same job. Now this, one other little modification I'd make to this would be to cut a notch in the handle, slicing upward with my saw. Why? So I can hang it on a piece of bank line. So whenever I'm running at my camp and I've got a line, I just simply hook it on the line. All you gotta do is just make like a 7 notch, or just carve a 7 notch into it. So I can hook it like that, and then I can take that one and do the same thing. Hook it like that, and have my pots hanging up so they're out of the way and not down in the dirt and everything else. Super simple, huh? I know this is a lengthy one, guys. Sorry for that, but you gotta hand fit it. And it's one of those things where if you got one of these and you got the time and you want 2 cooking pans instead of just one, this is how to do it. Hope you enjoyed this, guys. Please leave any questions or comments below. And yes, you can put it so it'll sit together like that, and you can bake coals up here on it and use it for bacon or something. Done that too. I've also done like that and set it up there, fill the top full of coals, and set it across the top of the pan and let the heat be cooking bread or something in the bottom. We'll play with that another day. Well, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm sorry it was kind of lengthy. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button for me and then feed the algorithm to help me a little bit. And there'll be more of these little down and dirty videos coming. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.